Hey, what's up, everybody? It's Hakeem, your Survive You Dean, back with another one. And this is a doozy. For those of you who've been tracking the news, you know about Saturday, December 3rd, that there was a power outage in Moore County in North Carolina. This is a retirement community. There's a lot of very important people who settled down here. There you have lots of families, lots of military, lots of business owners, and Saturday night at about 7, power outages started, and then the power just went out. When you dive into the story, it looks like, we're still pending investigation, but it looks like there was an attack. Someone shot at two different substations, taking the power out at those substations, and destroying those substations to the point where they couldn't provide power to the community anymore. And now what you have is you have a situation that since Saturday all the way to Thursday, so that's 5 days, where this community is going to be without power. And there are so many different aspects to that people fail to realize how important power is to any community and what taking that power out means for that community. So you have all these cascading events that are happening. So people are stuck in their houses. It's cold, so they don't have heat. They're not being able to run their water properly in some areas you have that are on wells. These wells can't run because they're run by electricity. The pumps are run by electricity, and because there's no power, you can't pump water. And that's in the rural areas and in some of the more suburban areas that still have their own wells as well. You have gas stations can't pump gas, so you have people who are running out of gas. They're like excited, well, I got my generator, so I can use that. But you can't use your generator if you run out of gas, and if it's a gas generator. So now people are like having to drive out of town to get gas. But what do you think everybody else is doing? Everybody else is driving out of town to get gas. So you're finding a lot of congestion at these different gas stations and things of that nature. You have pharmacies that are reporting that they're having to take, these local pharmacies are having to take medications and things home with them so that they can keep those medications good, so that clients and customers who need those medications can actually still get them. You have elderly people who may be living on their own being evacuated, who are moved to different areas so that they can stay warm and that they can move about. You have the fire department reporting that there are several different areas where accidents are taking place, where people are running into each other because the traffic lights aren't working properly. So people are having accidents. The roads are very dark at night. People are out there driving. Supermarkets, they don't have power. So, food is going bad. Using credit card machines to pay for things are not happening. So these are a lot of things that are really scary. If you had diabetes, or if you had something where your medication actually needed to be refrigerated, if you don't have a backup plan for that, then you're at home right now trying to figure out, how am I going to keep my medications refrigerated? How am I going to keep my food refrigerated? How am I going to stay warm? All those different aspects. Now, one of the things I want to talk about is that this is not new information. What I find very interesting is that the mayor is doing, the best in that town to kind of get things restored and trying to help people out. But one of the things in one article I was reading, the mayor was saying that we need to really sit down and have a conversation about how to deal with this type of attack and how to deal with power outages. I mean, this is not new. It is absolutely not new. You've had hurricanes, you have all of these different things happening that takes people power out. This is unexpected. It's normally an unexpected event. With some exceptions. I mean, if a hurricane is coming or a tropical storm, you could prepare. But if you're not prepared, then you're out there trying to prepare with everybody else, meaning that you may not get the gas you need. You may not get the generators if you're buying a generator. You may not be able to get the food that you're going to need. So being prepared ahead of time is very important. But here's what's very interesting. Back in about 2011, you had James Wosley, I believe his name is, the ex-CIA director. This gentleman went out live and he talked and multiple different forums, and he said our power grid is so behind the curve, it is so vulnerable to attack, that we need to start working on ways to get this thing up to par and get it set so that when we have any type of terrorist situation, domestic or foreign, where somebody tries to take out our power grid in different areas, strategic areas, that those communities would be ready, that we would be ready, those power companies would be ready. Way back in 2011, there were people talking about it before then, and there have been people talking about it since then. So to have a mayor say we need to have a really serious conversation about it, yeah, we've needed to have a real serious conversation about this for years, for a very long time. This is nothing new. People like myself, other channels, other individuals out there who talk about survival and preparedness and just being ready and self-reliant have been talking about making sure you have generators, making sure you know what you need to do with your medicine. I have a book out called Team Ready. And in that book, I talk about this as well. So all of this stuff, but we as a society, we can't rely on the government to do all this stuff for us. Again, gentleman's talking about this, the head of ex-head of the CIA, talking about how vulnerable we are, telling the community how vulnerable we are. Has the government done anything to fix that? And this time, they may have tried to, but there's all types of stuff, as happening in government. So that has not happened to a point where every community is taken care of. The community has to, and the people in the community have to step up and really start figuring out what they're going to do in these type of scenarios and make sure that they have a backup plan. And if you could start taking these small steps within, then when things come from without, like from the government or the municipality or anything in that area, then you will have better opportunity to be successful in these type of events. And that's really what this is about. That's really what this is about. In this particular event, it is looking like it is some sort of domestic terrorism scenario where people were actually shooting at these substations and they knew what to aim at to take these things out. And what's really mind-blowing is that 2 weeks prior to this incident, this past Saturday, the FBI released documents and information that they had known or they knew about different groups that were threatening power grids around different communities and saying that they were going to do that to create civil unrest. Because what happens? We saw what happened when people just wanted toilet tissue from the supermarket. You had little old ladies fighting each other over toilet tissue. So when you have people saying my child is at home, they have an element where they need a machine that runs or something of that nature. Maybe it helps them breathe. Maybe it helps them, clean their blood or something of that nature. And we have no power, but we have this generator and we need fuel. And now we're at this gas station. There's a bunch of us at the gas station and it looks like the gas is going to run out. People panic and they will fight you because they want to make sure that their child is taken care of. People panic when they don't have food at home and they can't keep their food warm. People panic when they can't pump water into their house so that they can drink water and cook with their water. All those type of things are the things that, scenarios like this create, and bad guys know it. So they're setting that up. And so it is very important for you to start thinking about these type of things. What type of generators do I need? I mean, can I use a solar power generator? Can I have a combination of a generator? Maybe one that runs on propane, one that runs on electricity. Do I have enough propane to help with that? If my well water can't be pumped because there's no electricity, do I have a way to get water out of that well? Or maybe I just have some water stored up. Do I have like a rainwater catchment system that I can take some of that water and clean it and set it aside just for emergencies? Am I going out to the supermarket when things are good and buying some bottled water that I could sit in a place and keep it and cycle through that over time? Those type of things are the ways that we have to be thinking, and it's so easy to think on that level and then to just take small steps if we just get out of our own way. But we kind of have this bias where we think, this normalcy bias, where we think that because the norm is every time I flip the switch, everything is good, that it's always going to be good. That just because I went to sleep tonight and I had power, that when I wake up tomorrow, I'm going to have power. You know, we don't take into account these things that could happen that would disrupt our life and put us in disarray. And when we do have situations that teach us and show us that, yes, this is possible, and then we say, man, this is really horrible. I'm going to prepare when the time comes, when we get our power back on. I'm going to make sure that I'm always ready for a situation like this. And then we slip right back into that normalcy bias, and we never take the time to actually make sure that we have those things. So we have to get past that now. We have to start looking. There's been so many different events that have happened over the last 3 years, from COVID, people losing their job, from different types of disasters, people losing power, people losing all, their lives in different events. I mean, it's just so much going on that it would just only make sense for the average individual to start paying attention and start taking notes and start moving in a direction where they can be self-sustaining for some period of time, whether it's 3 days, whether it's a week, whether it's 2 weeks, and really have that down. And there are enough people talking about how to make this happen. I have an event called Ready Expo, and you could come to the Ready Expo. It's in October. It's at the beginning of October. This year, we're going to be having it outside of Charlotte, North Carolina, and you can learn from different professionals in these different backgrounds how to actually do that. How to farm, how to make medicine off of herbs that you find on the land, how to grow your own herbs, how to set up a solar panel at your house, how to purify and clean water and store water for long periods of time, how to build a rain catchment system. You can learn all of these things. And my event is not the only event that's around there. There are events all over the place, right, that you can find that are teaching you these types of skills so that you could be ready. And so we have insurance for a car, we have insurance for our house, we have life insurance for our lives, we have all types of insurance, and where we could just pay money and then hope that that's going to be there. But we don't take these small little steps to ensure that we have insurance for ourselves during these disasters or during these emergencies that will undoubtedly interrupt our lives at some point in time. The number is 45,000 people in Moore County right now who are being affected by this. And that is a lot of people if you don't know just by the number. And understanding that those people are going through hardship right now, some of them because they didn't prepare, and it's so easy to prepare, it's just really sad. And so I would invite you and anyone else out there watching this video, take time to really step up your game when it comes down to preparedness and self-reliance. Take time to really be aware of the things that could go down in your town that can interrupt and disrupt your life in a way that it could really change things for you and your family and bring about a lot of hardship. Pay attention to that. Pay attention to that. Just like we saw with the oil crisis here in North Carolina, just like we saw with the pandemic, which created a supply chain issue, which we're still feeling the effects from, being shut down and locked in our houses, things being out at the grocery store, gas not being there when you need it. All of those things are telltale signs to say, or warning signs to say, hey, be prepared. And don't be crazy. You don't have to feel like you're being crazy about it. I mean, the reality is there. The reality is showing you that on a consistent basis. So that's really weighing heavy on my heart, and I wanted to share that with you today as I have friends who are in Moore County. That's only 45 minutes away from here. I have a business there. That business is obviously shut down because there's no power, right, in the shopping center, which that building is located. And yes, I could bring a generator there, but I probably have some challenges convincing the owners of that shopping center to let me hook up my solar power generator out there just for my business. And then nobody's going to show because most of the families in that area, as we mentioned, can't come, they're dealing with their own issues at their house. How do I deal with work? How do I, especially if I'm working from home from the computer? Well, I don't have any power to power my computer. The internet's down, my modem's down. I can't get on there. So how do I do that? So many layers, so many different problems. So I really like to hear your feedback on some of the things and problems you might see that arise from this. Maybe you even lived through it. And I would love to hear some of the challenges you came up with or that you had and some of the solutions you came up with during this. So again, my name is Hakeem, your Survive U Dean, and that's it for today here at Survive University. Please make sure you like and subscribe to our Facebook and our YouTube channel. And other than that, I'll see you next time.